No one was supposed to hear this recording, but at 3:17 a.m., everything changed. A leaked prison confession file suddenly surfaced online, and within minutes, it was being called the most dangerous audio ever tied to the Nancy kidnapping case. In that recording, a man sitting behind bars claims he is finally ready to clear his conscience. But what he says next doesn't clear anything at all. Instead, it destroys everything people thought they knew. He doesn't just talk about what happened that night. He starts naming people. Family members, close friends, even individuals who were never once publicly linked to the case. And the most shocking part? According to the leak, one of those names is someone who was never even considered a suspect, until now. Within hours, screenshots of the alleged confession spread across social media like wildfire. Some people are calling it a fake. Others are saying this is the moment the entire truth finally broke loose. But there's one detail nobody can ignore. The prison timestamp matches the exact date investigators reopened the case. And that raises one terrifying question. If this confession is real, why was it hidden for so long? And more importantly, who tried to bury it? Because as you're about to hear, this is not just a confession. It's a chain reaction. And once it starts, there is no going back. To understand how everything collapsed into chaos, you have to go back before the confession, before the prison leak, and before the internet ever started screaming the name Nancy's kidnapping case again. Because this story didn't begin with a confession. It began with silence. For years, the case was considered cold in public. But inside investigative circles, it was something entirely different. Sources close to the original inquiry described it as a case that never fully closed, only faded from headlines. And at the center of it all was Nancy, a name that carried both sympathy and mystery in equal measure. Some remembered her as the victim at the heart of a terrifying incident. Others remembered the confusion, the unanswered questions, and the details that never quite lined up the way they were supposed to. But what most people never knew was that the real tension was never just about what happened that night. It was about the people connected to it, especially one relationship that always raised quiet suspicion behind closed doors, Nancy's extended family ties through marriage, and in particular, her son-in-law. At the time of the original investigation, he was never officially labeled as a suspect. Not even close. On paper, he was simply cooperating family. Present, emotional, distressed. But according to one former investigator who later spoke under anonymity, there was always something off about the way certain conversations were redirected during questioning. Small inconsistencies, slight delays in answers, moments where details changed depending on who was in the room. Nothing concrete, nothing usable in court, but enough to raise quiet internal notes that were never made public. And that's where things start to get complicated. Because years later, when the case faded from headlines, life appeared to move on. Social media moved on. The public moved on. Even parts of the investigation were quietly archived. But inside the background, relationships tied to the case didn't disappear. They evolved. And according to leaked messages that recently resurfaced, tension inside the family network never fully settled. Old arguments, financial disputes, emotional fractures that never healed properly. Things people assumed were normal family conflict. But now, in hindsight, look very different. Then came the prison sentence. Nancy's son-in-law, once only loosely connected to the case, ended up incarcerated for unrelated charges years later. That detail alone would not have mattered if it wasn't for what allegedly started happening behind bars. Because according to multiple unverified insider claims, something changed after he entered prison. At first, it was just rumors, whispers that he was talking too much. Then came mentions of him requesting legal outreach. Then suddenly, messages began circulating about him demanding to set the record straight on something far
Heavy,
bigger than his own
full-face
charges.
ski mask. His
Nobody
clothing
took it
was
seriously
layered,
at first,
deliberate.
until the first leak appeared. A short audio fragment. Poor quality. Distorted. But unmistakably labeled by anonymous uploaders as a confession extract. Within hours, online forums exploded. Some claimed it was edited. Others insisted it was part of a larger suppressed recording. But what made it impossible to ignore was the reaction it triggered, not from the public, but from people allegedly connected to the original investigation. Because suddenly, old names started disappearing from social media. Private accounts were locked. Mutual contacts went silent. And one former legal associate of the case allegedly deleted years of public posts within a single night. That's when people realized something bigger might be happening. And this is where the story shifts, because the leaked prison confession wasn't just random noise. It allegedly referenced people, places, and timelines that had never been publicly connected before. Names that were never in the official case files. Events that were never released to the public. And details that only someone inside would supposedly know. But here's the part that turned everything upside down. The confession didn't just talk about what happened during the kidnapping case. It hinted at decisions made after the case, by people trying to control what the public would never find out. And that single implication changed everything. Because if that's true, then the story was never just about one night. It was about everything that happened afterward to keep that night buried. And now, with the prison leak spreading faster than anyone can contain, the past is no longer staying in the past. It's breaking through. And the first real crack in the silence is about to turn into a full collapse. It all began with a single leaked audio file that was never supposed to exist. A 47-minute prison recording, secretly extracted from a restricted interrogation room, labeled only as. At first, authorities tried to dismiss it. They called it fake. They called it edited. They called it another internet hoax. But then, the unthinkable happened. A timestamp verification report leaked from inside the correctional facility itself. And it confirmed one terrifying truth. The voice on the recording was real. And it belonged to Nancy's son-in-law. The same man who was arrested months ago under sealed charges connected to the kidnapping investigation. And what he said inside that prison room changed everything. The audio starts with static, heavy breathing, the sound of metal chains shifting. Then a voice breaks through. Tired, broken, nervous, but fully aware of what he's about to destroy. I'm done protecting people who left me here to rot. That one line alone sent chills through investigators. Because within seconds, he starts naming names. Not guesses, not rumors. Direct involvement. Direct roles. Direct confirmation. He claims the kidnapping was never a random act. It was planned, coordinated, and funded by people no one expected. According to the leaked confession, the son-in-law reveals. They told me Nancy was never supposed to make it back the same way. It was supposed to look like an accident gone wrong. Then he pauses. A long silence. And then the first bomb drops. He names a high-profile family associate who was allegedly involved in the planning phase. Someone who publicly appeared as supportive during the investigation, but behind closed doors allegedly helped coordinate movement logistics on the night of the disappearance. Social media explodes instantly after the leak. Because that name was never part of the original investigation. Not once. Not in police reports. Not in media coverage. Not even in speculation threads. And yet here it was. Inside a prison confession that was never meant to surface. Just when listeners thought it couldn't get worse. The recording takes another dark turn. The son-in-law claims the kidnapping wasn't just planned. It was rehearsed. He says there were practice runs weeks before the incident. Fake routes. Test vehicles. Even timed surveillance blind spots. But the most disturbing part? He claims Nancy was being monitored before the kidnapping even happened. 4 days. Maybe weeks. And that someone inside her own circle allegedly helped feed information about her schedule. This revelation flips the entire case upside down. Because investigators had always believed it was a sudden, opportunistic crime. But now, the confession suggests something far more terrifying. Nancy was targeted like a blueprint. As the leak spreads, officials scramble to contain the damage. Reports begin surfacing that prison staff were immediately questioned. Internal communications were seized. Phones were confiscated. But it was already too late. The audio had been uploaded to multiple anonymous channels simultaneously. Encrypted backups, mirror servers, foreign-hosted archives. The internet now had it forever. And the chaos was only beginning. Then comes the moment that truly breaks the internet. The son-in-law hesitates. His voice drops lower. And he says, "If I'm going down for this, they all should go down with me." And then he names another individual. This time, a figure connected directly to Nancy's inner circle. Someone who publicly attended family events. Someone who appeared in photos during the investigation period. Someone who even gave televised statements of support and unity. But according to the confession, they were allegedly the missing link between planning and execution. That single moment triggers global shockwaves. News platforms freeze. Comment sections collapse under traffic. And within minutes, the hashtag prison confession leak, starts trending worldwide. Inside the audio, the son-in-law becomes more erratic. He claims betrayal from everyone involved. He says he was promised protection, money, silence. But instead, he was abandoned the moment authorities started closing in. And now, he wants revenge. Not redemption. Not freedom. Just exposure. They can keep me in here forever, but I'm taking their whole world down with me. That line alone becomes the most replayed clip online, because it sounds less like a confession, and more like a warning. Just when the recording feels like it has revealed everything, the audio suddenly distorts. Heavy interference fills the line. A guard can be heard shouting in the background. And then the son-in-law says something that freezes everyone listening. You still don't know about the second location. Silence. Then, cut. The recording ends abruptly. No explanation. No continuation. Nothing. What second location? Why was it never mentioned before? And most terrifying of all, this confession is real. What else has been hidden from the public this entire time? Because according to insiders now stepping forward, this leaked confession is only part one. And what comes next? They say it doesn't just expose the kidnapping. It exposes the people who made sure the truth would never come out. And trust me, you are not ready for what they're about to reveal next. The moment the words second location hit the internet, everything changed. It didn't just spread. It detonated. Within minutes, the leaked prison confession was being re-uploaded across every platform imaginable. TikTok breakdowns, YouTube analysis videos, Reddit threads zooming into every second of the audio. Even private investigator accounts started stitching together timelines in real time. And suddenly, what was once a sealed kidnapping case turned into a global conspiracy storm. But the real chaos began when a second audio fragment surfaced. Different file name, different source, same voice. And this time, it wasn't just naming people. It was describing movements, exact timestamps, exact vehicles, exact meeting points. One line sent chills across investigators. They didn't take her straight. They moved her twice before anyone even started searching. That single detail shattered the original police timeline, because according to official records, Nancy's movement after the kidnapping was completely unknown. But this confession suggested otherwise. It suggested control, planning, and coordination far beyond what authorities publicly admitted. Within hours, platforms turned into battlegrounds. Hashtags started trending globally. Hashtag second location theory, hashtag confession leak case, hashtag who was involved. Some users claimed the confession was 100% authentic and too detailed to fake. Others insisted it was AI-generated manipulation designed to destroy reputations. But the most dangerous part? People started naming names. Not from police reports, but from speculation. And that's when things became uncontrollable. Because once the internet starts filling gaps, truth and fiction become indistinguishable. Then came another twist. An anonymous account posted a thread claiming the son-in-law wasn't the only one talking. There were 3 cooperating sources inside the system. The thread included alleged screenshots of prison communication logs, mentions of pressure meetings, and references to a non-public agreement that collapsed. The post was taken down within 20 minutes, but screenshots had already been saved thousands of times. And now people were convinced this wasn't just a confession. It was a breakdown of an entire hidden network. Suddenly, official statements became defensive. Spokespeople refused to confirm or deny the recording. Investigators began re-evaluating evidence. And journalists reported unusual restrictions on case files that were previously accessible. But what caught everyone's attention was this. Several individuals connected to the original case reportedly hired legal protection teams overnight. Not one, not two, multiple. And that raised the biggest question yet. If this confession is fake, why is everyone reacting like it's real? Then another clip surfaced. Short, distorted, barely audible. But one sentence was clear enough to send panic across the internet. If I mention the third name, I don't make it out of here alive. And just like that, everything stopped. Because now it wasn't just about a kidnapping anymore. It wasn't just about a confession. It was about something far bigger being protected behind prison walls. And the worst part? The third name hasn't even been revealed yet. But according to growing whispers online, that name connects directly to the real reason Nancy's case was never fully solved. And what happens when it finally comes out will change everything you thought you knew about the entire investigation. The moment the phrase third name entered circulation, the entire case stopped being just an investigation. It became a battlefield. Across social media, timelines were flooded with fragments of the leaked confession, stitched together with dramatic captions, slowed audio clips, and exaggerated breakdowns claiming new evidence every hour. But nobody agreed on what was real anymore, because the internet had officially split into two sides. This group exploded first. They believe the prison confession is 100% authentic. Their argument is simple. The level of detail is too precise to be fabricated. They point to timestamps, movement descriptions, and emotional breaks in the audio as proof it's genuine. One viral post read, "Nobody can fake panic like that. He didn't sound like he was acting. He sounded like someone who finally gave up on surviving." Another account with millions of views claimed, "If the second location is real, then the official timeline is completely false. That means someone high up helped bury this." Influencers began live streaming hour-long breakdowns, connecting dots between old interviews, deleted posts, and alleged inconsistencies in the original investigation. And every new theory added fuel to the fire. But the opposition was just as loud. Fact-check accounts and legal analysts began pushing back hard. They called the leak a possible fabrication, a psychological manipulation, or a digitally altered audio designed to create panic. One viral analyst posted, "We have zero verified chain of custody. This could be stitched from multiple sources." But their warnings only made things worse, because instead of calming people down, it made them more suspicious. Now viewers weren't just asking what is true. They were asking, who is trying to control the truth? Then came the industry shockwave. Commentary channels, podcast hosts, and even former investigators began cautiously addressing the leak. Some refused to touch it entirely. Others hinted at off-record conversations about the case that never made it to public reports. A former crime reporter posted, "I've seen cases get messy, but I've never seen something this aggressively unstable in terms of information flow." News outlets started covering the situation, but carefully. Every headline used words like, "Alleged leak, unverified confession, social media speculation." No one wanted to fully commit, because committing meant responsibility, and responsibility meant risk. The most dangerous part wasn't the information itself, it was the obsession. People weren't just watching updates anymore. They were dissecting every frame of the audio, pausing breaths, analyzing tone shifts, mapping out supposed hidden meanings. Entire online communities formed dedicated to decoding the confession like it was a puzzle. And every hour that passed, the belief grew stronger that something massive was being hidden. Then just when the noise reached its peak, a new anonymous post appeared. One sentence. No explanation. No proof. Just this. "You're all arguing about the confession, but nobody is asking why the prison allowed it to leak in the first place." And in that moment, the entire conversation shifted again. Because if the leak itself was intentional, then the real story hasn't even started yet. The moment that anonymous message appeared, nobody is asking why the prison allowed it to leak in the first place. Everything online went silent for a split second. And then, it exploded again. Because suddenly the focus wasn't the confession anymore. It was the system behind it. Within hours, a second wave of claims started circulating, this time from accounts that appeared to have insider-level access to correctional communications. They suggested something nobody expected. The leak was not a failure. It was controlled exposure. According to a rapidly deleted post from a supposed whistleblower network, the prison recording didn't escape the system. It was pushed out. Intentionally. And the reason? To flush out hidden collaborators still operating outside the prison walls. One message that went viral before deletion read, "The confession was only step one. The goal was never the son-in-law. The goal was who reacts to it." That single line changed everything. Because now people realized, every reaction, every denial, every legal move could be part of a larger trap. Then another twist hit the internet like a shockwave. A new fragment of audio surfaced. Short, fragmented, almost impossible to verify. But in it, the son-in-law's voice is heard again, whispering one final warning. "If they think I was the problem, they don't understand who signed off on it. The third name isn't a person, it's a system." And that broke the internet again. Because now the third name wasn't just a mystery individual. It was something bigger, something structured, something protected. Immediately after this clip circulated, official channels went dark. No statements, no clarifications, no denials, just silence. And that silence created more chaos than any confirmation ever could. Legal experts began suggesting that if the leak truly originated from inside, then multiple departments could be compromised. But nobody was willing to say it directly on record. Because this wasn't just about a kidnapping anymore. It was about institutional exposure. By now, the entire online world had converged on one terrifying idea. What if the prison confession wasn't the beginning of the truth, but the beginning of a controlled purge? A way to see who panics, who hides, who moves, who reacts, and more importantly, who gets exposed when they do. Then, just as the conversation reached its peak, another anonymous message appeared. This time, pinned across multiple platforms at once. It simply said, "The son-in-law was never meant to confess. He was meant to trigger the chain reaction." And beneath it, a countdown link appeared. No explanation, no source, no destination. Just a timer quietly ticking down from midnight. And as millions stared at it in confusion, one final thought spread across the internet like wildfire. If the confession was just the trigger, then whatever happens when the timer hits zero was always the real plan.